In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Well, in a sense, today we enter into this cycle of Easter with Septuagesima Sunday, which in a sense preludes the season of Easter, of Lent, in preparation for Easter. Well, as we just read in the Gospel today, the vineyard of the Lord is not only the people of Israel or the entire humanity, but also the vineyard is each one of our souls. And all of us have been invited to work on it, to put everything we possibly can to make it fruitful. So we have one vineyard to cultivate, our own soul. If we look back into our lives, we shall be able to see plainly how lovingly God has cared for the welfare of our souls. We could look at the crucifix and renew a resolution to bear the cross of self-conquest for love of Him who laid down His life for us. He has given us strength, the strength of His grace. He has given us reason and free will, and thousands of other opportunities of learning what is right, what is good. And day after day, hour after hour, He preserves you from evil or from committing uglier sins. So He even nourishes our souls with His own body and blood in order that we may be His children and be saved. So it would indeed be the most horrible ingratitude to cast all these graces aside recklessly, carrying nothing for our salvation, for the securing of which He has given everything, supplied us with everything, with so many natural and supernatural graces to take care of our souls. However, being human, as we just listened from the Gospel, we have a greater tendency or to pretend to take care of the souls of our neighbors rather than our own. Can you imagine if we could invest the same amount of energy and time that we spend on criticizing the vineyard of our neighbor? See? Because we seem to have this anxiety about taking care of the soul of our neighbor. So nothing is more common for people to be anxious than to be anxious about the souls of others and to neglect their own. In fact, when you listen sermons, the first thing we do is to apply whatever we say to somebody else rather than to our own souls. We even have names. If the priest says something, you say, well, this applies to so-and-so, all the time. Well, this so-called anxiety for the salvation of others is very often nothing but a sinful love of criticism that delights in discovering the faults and sins of other people. It is a kind of a spiritual pride, making us think ourselves to be better and exalting ourselves above our brothers and sisters. So we should be aware always of forming unnecessary opinions regarding others under the pretext of lamenting over the neglected vineyard of their souls. Because what do we know? What do we know? Thousands of sins are committed, and thousands of unkind remarks are made under this pretext of being anxious for the salvation of other people. I mean, certainly we need to worry about salvation of our brothers and sisters. But if you want to find out whether you really care for the souls of others in the way that Jesus desires, ask yourselves whether you really take pains every day to improve yourselves, to learn what is right and to do it, to avoid occasions of sin, to practice mortification. Because as long as you are not careful about these things, there is reason to fear that your criticisms of others are really sinful. And in the end, it is quite possible that many a vineyard whose neglected condition you criticize may prove to be more beautiful than the vineyard of your own soul. To give you an example, we have Mary and Martha in the Gospel. If you remember, Mary had chosen a better part, listening, praying. Then Martha, she had time for everything, even to criticize her sister. And she demands that Jesus rebuke her. But Jesus says, how come you even have time to do all of that and then to criticize your sister? See? Jesus knew that only those who are careful for their own salvation will ever be able to promote the salvation of other people. So it is, of course, our duty as Christians to help others on the way to salvation, as far as we can. But if we want to be capable of doing this, it is important to do first what we have to do for our own souls, the salvation of our own souls. So true love of God and true love of neighbor shows us how important it is to care for the welfare of our souls first. Genuine self-love imposes this duty upon us, for nothing but care for our own salvation and zealous work in the vineyard of our own souls can make us worthy to receive at night the payment promised to all the faithful and dutiful laborers. So today, let us resolve or renew our resolution in attending to the welfare of our souls, or to do it better, or to increase it. And by the help of God's grace, so that we may bring forth forever fruits of amendment and good works.